Social distancing has kept me from shooting any new video tours the past few months. So that's why this week's video was actually self-shot, and I think the owners did an awesome job. Chris and Sarah are two young go-getters who converted a school bus into a beautiful tiny home that not only works well for their stay-at-home jobs, but also as a comfortable space to safely quarantine. Alright guys, let's take a tour.
Make this house our tiny home.
Hey, we're Chris
and Sarah from Skoolie LIVIN. Before we moved into our Skoolie, we were actually living long distance. Chris was out in California working at Apple, and I was back in Milwaukee at school. He came back and we spent a year out in Madison paying like $1,300 a month in rent for a 1-bedroom, 1,000 square foot apartment.
We had been talking about living in a tiny house. We liked traveling a lot and we didn't want to be stuck in one place. And that led us from a tiny house on a trailer and thinking about purchasing a big truck to then trying to figure out a cheaper way to do that. Of course, Skoolie started popping up, and that's when I got the brainy ideas like, I really want to buy a school bus and convert it.
Ultimately, it made sense to do a school bus conversion. That way we have like the vehicle and then our house in one, instead of having that extra expense to buy a big truck to pull our tiny house.
So yeah, we actually built the Skoolie completely by ourselves. We had some help from Sarah's parents and my parents and borrowing a lot of tools from them as well in order to get it done. But it took us about 9 months to build it to the point where we could actually move into the back bedroom, and then probably another 3 or 4 months to get to the point of where it is now. So it's been a little bit over a year of actually building the Skoolie to get it to this point of where we're at.
So we've been living in our Skoolie for about 9 months now. We bought this school bus for $4,000. All the added materials that we put into it, I think we're all in at about $27,000.
So we have a 9-window, 30-foot International 3800 school bus. It has a DT466 engine inside of it, paired with the AT545 Allison transmission. We use truck bed liner. It's a little bit more expensive than paint, but we wanted the durability that comes with truck bed liner, especially when we're by the oceans or if we're cruising down the road and there's rocks hitting the front of the bus. We wanted to make sure that we were protecting our asset, basically. We do have security cameras all the way around the bus. So on the door side of the bus, we have our Suburban intake and outlet for fresh air and exhaust for our Suburban heater. On this side of the bus as well, we have our propane tanks that are currently sitting on the ground. So this is our wheelchair door. Inside of it, we made it accessible with our water system. So we have a 100-gallon water tank, and then we have all of our water piping. Above that, we have a shelf that we can throw our snowboards and skis in from this side, the longer things that we need to store. So in our rear door, we have storage pretty much. This also extends up to our bedroom and our bed, so we can have this door open from the inside out and be able to lay here and kind of enjoy the breeze coming through with the windows on the sides. So when you first walk into our Skoolie, it's kind of like the mudroom area. Obviously it has like the driver's captain's chair with the cockpit. The whole dashboard area is what we have left in the entire Skoolie to finish inside. When you first walk in, you have the coat rack. Sarah and I keep our coats here, and then we usually hang our keys up here too. Sarah's famous shiplap that she loves. And then we have the pallet board ceiling, and so throughout the whole bus we have these reclaimed pallet boards. We went on Craigslist and found, I think it was 6 or 7 complete pallets, and we had to sawzall them up. That took about like 3 days to cut all them up and get them ready. And then we have a backup camera, mostly because the mirrors, you can kind of see when you're backing up how you're doing, but you can't see directly behind you because of all the stuff inside the Skoolie. Next to that, we have, and above kind of like the dashboard area for the driver, we have a utility closet. Just houses a lot of our electronics. So moving into the living room area, first off we have the first TV monitor. You can see the cameras outside of the bus, or we connect our computers in order to use it as an external monitor as well. And then its bigger brother TV pops out of here, and this door self-opens. There's two bearings on the lift mechanism for the TV that it just rolls over, and then as it rolls down, it rolls back and closes. And then underneath the computer area here is like a desk. It has storage all the way underneath, and it can just lift up. We also have two lights. These lights are actually deck lights. We decided to go with these because they're LED and they pull like minimal usage. So we actually have, I think, 30 total LED lights like this on 15 different switches throughout the bus. Underneath here we have shoe storage that lines the entire bottom of the desk area. So then moving into the living room type area, first we have our couch. It's actually an old foam piece. Both of these are foam pieces from my old mattress that I had in California. It pulls out into a queen size bed. We put 5 sets of rollers on it, and it can hold up to 500 pounds. And so I've pulled it out and jumped on it, and it hasn't moved. We have our first skylight here as well. It brings in a lot of natural light, so we get to see the stars if we're sitting on the couch. This door, which is actually a drop-down door, and it's our hidden coffee bar. And so I am very into coffee. Sarah drinks a lot of coffee too. And so we have a 5-cup coffee pot, mostly because of the power usage. And then I brought my espresso machine in, and so I use this about once a day too. So now moving on to the range area of the kitchen. The range runs off propane. It's a 3-burner, standard RV range. This kind of made a focal point for where we were going to mount all the other propane appliances. So now we're heading into the kitchen. That was mostly Sarah's influence, and so I'm going to switch it over to her.
In our Skoolie, we kept everything pretty neutral, so that way we could have like a pop of color here and there. So we bought this KitchenAid a couple months ago, and we went with a pistachio green color. We did butcher block countertops, and we sealed them with an oil-based polyurethane to give it that like golden yellow color. And then we have a leaf that goes on top of our range. When we put it in here, we have 11 feet of counter space. In this cabinet, we just keep our dishes up here. Plates, bowls, pots and pans. We found this cool idea on Pinterest. We just screwed the lids up into the cabinet, so that way when we unscrew a mason jar, it just comes down like this, and then the lid stays up there, and when we want to put it back, we just put it back. So our sink and our faucet were a gift that we got. The sink was from my mom, and then the faucet was from Chris's mom. And it's a spray head, so it can clean the sink. And then one of the stipulations I had when we moved into the bus was to make sure that we had a good water filtration system put in place. So this is an 11-stage reverse osmosis system. Came with this faucet, and then it holds 3 gallons of water in a tank underneath the sink. We've seen a lot of people go with a smaller size refrigerator, and they're just constantly going to the grocery store. We didn't want to have to sacrifice that if we were to go off-grid for a while. We wanted to store our food and have it easily accessible for us. So we went with an apartment-sized fridge. And then in these 2 cabinets, we store our food and then our silverware down here. They're on soft close hinges too. So this is our toilet room. Our doorknob is actually an inactive doorknob. We didn't want to deal with putting the lock system on the wall and inside the door, and we don't really need a lock on it. How it stays closed though are these magnets right up here. So that way when it closes, it just magnetizes and it really stays in place. We went with the Nature's Head composting toilet. We knew we didn't want a black water tank. We didn't want to be carrying that around when we were traveling. So this door doubles as not only the bathroom door, but a door to our bedroom. So Chris had bought these pallet dressers when he was out in California, and we just loved them so much that we just had to find a spot to put them inside the bus. So we mounted them underneath the fireplace and then underneath the bed. So we have a queen size bed and we have storage underneath. Bed just lifts up. So we have a lot of storage down here. I think we can fit 7 80-quart bins down there and then 7 40-quart bins on top of those. We have our dirty clothes hamper here and then our wood storage bin right next to it. So this is our future shower. Right now we're showering at Planet Fitness and we keep our bags for the gym in here, and then we have a spot where we can hang up our towels when we come back. The shower is all plumbed in with knobs down here, a shower head up here, and the drain on the floor there. So really we just have to tile it. So this is our fireplace. We went with the Cubic Mini Grizzly. It heats it pretty well, but I think the way we had it designed with the wall here and a wall here, it kind of holds the heat back here. So that's why we had to install the RV furnace for heat up in the front half of the bus. The big thing back here was that we just didn't want anything combustible. So we went with the gray subway tile and then we went with the cement countertop. So we burn these compressed bricks that we get from Menards. They come in a pack of 6 and they're actually 12 inches long, and we just cut them in half so that way we can fit them inside the Cubic Mini. They're like $3 a pack and we can get about a day and a half when it's really cold outside. So with having a queen size bed, it was a perfect amount of space to put our closets right next to our bed. So this is Chris's closet. This is my closet. And then this closet's mostly mine, but we kind of share it. It's about 24 inches deep. You really only need about 22 inches to hang your clothes. The shirts just barely touch the ground, so it's deep enough to hang your clothes in here. And then we opted to have shelves in our closets just for extra storage for miscellaneous things. Like I keep my makeup bag up here, and then Chris keeps some folded clothes up there. And the fairy lights are probably one of my favorite things in the bus. We just wanted something fun, and it looks really pretty at night when we're just hanging out watching a movie and we just have the fairy lights on. This is our air conditioner unit. It's just a window AC unit. It gets pretty hot here in the summertime, so we definitely needed that back here. Right now we just have plastic over it because it does bring in a lot of cold air from the outside because we have vents on the outside of the bus. And then underneath here we have reading lights, and then we also have our Sasquatch light. So that light turns on all of the exterior lights on the outside of the bus. So that way if we're sleeping here in the middle of the night and we hear something outside the bus, we can just turn those on and we can kind of see what's going on. Over here we have our TV. It's really just an iPad, but it's big enough where we can watch TV shows, movies while we're hanging out here at night right before we go to bed. These are lined with insole shields and then our finishing fabric on top. Chris's mom and I actually made these curtains. We sewed them all together. These windows are really drafty, so it really helps with that and like stopping the cold. And that's also why we have plastic on our windows too, because in the middle of winter time, it gets pretty drafty in here. So we blocked it off with plastic wrap, and these curtains help really well.
So one of the challenges of going tiny, especially in a Skoolie, is that we only have 150 square feet of space. We had to give up a lot. We pretty much sold everything that we had or gave it away. It really changed our thinking process about what we buy, why we buy it, instead of just buying things because we like it. We haven't actually moved the Skoolie since we finished the build or got to this level of the build. So in the future, we'd like to start getting on the road and traveling. We just have a few things that we need to do as far as maintenance-wise on the bus. We're looking to share what we've been doing as far as the build and our website, SkoolieLivin.com, where we kind of share a lot of our experience and research that we've done over the last year. And we're trying to build a tool for other people coming into the industry so they have something to reference when it goes to as far as them trying to build out their Skoolie.
Thanks for tuning in this week. If you like the videos I'm producing, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And check back soon for new content every Friday.